Hey everybody, Chris Fafalius here. If you enjoy One Hit Thunder, which I'm assuming you do considering you're listening to it right now, I want to tell you about another great music podcast on the Evergreen Podcast Network. It's called Riffs on Riffs. On this season of Riffs on Riffs, hosts Toby Braswell and Joe Watson are breaking down one iconic pop song each week. Everything from Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer to Journey's Don't Stop Believin' to Naughty by Nature's OPP. Each week, they crack open the song, trace its history, decode those cryptic lyrics, and unearth the hidden gems in its musical DNA. Not only do they dive into the song's history, lyrics, and impact, they also go down some fun and oftentimes hilarious rabbit holes. So yeah, if you're a fan of One Hit Thunder, I think you'll also enjoy Riffs on Riffs. So go hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your pods.
One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever. And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it one hit thunder?
Chris, I am blown away by the information that we have in front of us, that after 25 years... we've gotten the first new recorded material from the New Radicals ever. And I guess we have Kamala Harris's husband to thank for this.
Oh, okay. Well, back up a second. Somebody used the New Radicals song to come out on stage. I thought maybe it was Tim Walz, but was it Doug Emhoff?
It was Doug Emhoff.
Okay.
And... I mean, I'm sure you know that they reunited in 2021 to play Joe Biden's inauguration because Joe Biden had written in his book that this song was like a rallying cry for him and his family when his son Beau was really, really struggling with drugs and stuff like that. And it was like their anthem in the house of just keep pushing forward, don't give up. It was a really important song to them. So they were like, we're going to reunite. We're going to play the song just for your inauguration. It was the first time they played live in 20-something years. And then with this one, it was that Doug Emhoff started using it as his walkout music. And Greg Alexander, who is essentially is the New Radicals, wrote an open letter to Doug basically being like, it touches me so much that you picked this song not because it has an emotional attachment to you, but that it's just a song that you love. And he's like, you may already know that we never have allowed this song to be used for, medicine. We very rarely let this song be used in commercials or advertisements because it goes against everything that we believe in. We believe that there's an opioid addiction here, and how could we put this towards pharmaceuticals? But we'll put this music against anyone that stands for the rights of LGBT and minorities and blah, blah, blah. It was this kind of just that's what this song's fucking about, is standing up for the people who need you to stand up for them. And then along with that, they released these two songs, Lost Stars and Murder on the Dancefloor, which we're going to talk about. Now, they're both technically old songs. They're songs that Greg had written. Murder on the Dancefloor was written in 96. It was supposed to be the lead single for the New Radicals, and he couldn't finish the song. He got writer's block on the verses. And the other song was for a movie called Begin Again. Have you ever heard of this movie starring Adam Levine?
No, starring Adam Levine?
It's starring Adam Levine. I kind of want to see it, because it's from the guy who did Once. It's his follow-up movie to Once, and he hired Greg Alexander to write all the music for the movie, and that's what Lost Stars is from, is this musical film that the guy who did Once did. I'm not sure if you've ever seen Once, but I fucking love that movie.
Is that Once? I've heard of this. Is it based off of Once Upon a Time? Is that what it's supposed to be? Or no?
No, Once is literally just, it's classified as a musical, but it's very difficult to categorize it as a musical. It's this shot for a couple $1,000 independent film about just a busker in Ireland who, while he's standing on a street corner performing songs, befriends this Russian immigrant who's also a musician, and they write a bunch of music together. And it's like the songs that they write are awesome, but it's like super low budget, like super. The two people actually formed a band out of it.
Can I watch it somewhere?
I'm sure you can. The group Swell Season was formed from the two actors in the movie.
Okay.
That were like, they were like in like an Irish indie rock group that I remember seeing them cover. I think they're back doing it, but when AV Club used to do AV Underground, where like bands would come in and cover songs, Swell Season did Two-Headed Boy by Neutral Milk Hotel, and it was fucking awesome. But that was a perfect matchup because they are very like Neutral Milk Hotel in style. Like,
gotcha.
But that was, yes, long-winded, but we got these two songs, and I kind of dug both of them for different reasons, but I was into it. I want to know what you think, though, because I'm coming into this as, like, Mr. New Radicals.
Let's talk about Murder on the Dance Floor first.
Okay.
This song is a huge hit in the UK from like 20 some years ago. It was like 2001. It may have been, I think it hit number 2. I don't have the exact stats in front of me or whatever, but I think it hit number 2, and I think it was the biggest song in the UK for like the year or something. Like
I think it's one of those. I also think it's just, you know, Joe Farron, who does the White People Problems podcast with me, has informed me that it's also just a big, like, this is a big, like, gay club hit in America.
See,
like, that, it's like a club track in America, but it was a legitimate mainstream radio hit in the UK. Like,
yeah, I was wondering, like, have I been living under a rock? How do I not know this song? And you know the first place I heard the song?
Probably Saltburn, where most of America heard it.
Yes, Saltburn. It's so weird. And have you watched that movie?
I still haven't watched Saltburn, but it is on my list to watch. I feel like I have to watch it at least once. But
I went into it with low expectations because I just thought it was going to be total trash. And it's actually a pretty good movie. And
nice.
The scene that they use Murder on the Dance Floor for is... I'm not going to spoil it, but you will never look at Barry Keoghan the same way again. I'll tell you that. If you have any sort of opinion on Barry Keoghan.
Well, in the story that I've heard about this song for a couple years now, because when Saltburn came out, there was all these articles about how it was originally supposed to be a New Radical song before it became a hit, was that at the time that Greg was recording the New Radical song, he knew that either Murder on the Dance Floor or You Get What You Give was going to be the lead single. And he was trying to write both of them at the same time. And he was struggling with Murder on the Dance Floor. And he was really bummed because he was like, I know that this chorus is like gonna be huge. Like he just like knew it in his bones that he had written a good chorus. But like writing the verses was absolutely... giving him like the worst writer's block in the world, whereas like You Get What You Give just kind of like flowed from the pen essentially. And he was like, all right, that's the one we're recording because it's the one that I'm done. The artist who made it number 2 in the UK is a co-writer on it. She was the one who kind of broke his writer's block, and they wrote the verses together.
Sophie Ellis Bextor.
There we go.
I can say with a straight face, I've never heard of Sophie Ellis Bextor until like today.
Yeah.
And what I'll say is that, so Murder on the Dance Floor is a new song to me. Both the version by Sophie from 2001 or whatever and this New Radicals version that just came out are both new versions to me, and I kept listening to them back to back. Actually, I was running on the treadmill just listening to them back to back to back. Great songs to run to, I'll tell you. The beat is perfect for a run. And I don't know which one I like better, to be honest.
They're both really good. Like,
yeah, they're both great.
I'm saying right now, I guess if we're going to do this for both songs, Murder on the Dance Floor, Certified Thunder, I guess, from Matt and Chris of One Hit Thunder.
Sure, I added it. Here's the real test: is I have my playlist where every time I hear a song I like, be it old song that I forgot I liked or new song that I just heard. I add it to this playlist and it stays there forever. And I added Murder on the Dance Floor to that playlist. So that is that. If you're on that playlist, you are Thunder. Absolutely.
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while, because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
And then we get the ballad from the New Radicals, Lost Stars. I'll tell you, the first time I listened to it, wasn't blown away. I was like, this is fine. Like, I felt like it was perfectly fine. When I found someone had already made a lyrics version on YouTube, like, not the New Radicals, someone took the New Radicals audio and made like a lyric video for it. And watching the lyric video and reading the lyrics with it, I thought, I actually really like the words to this. Specifically the first verse, which is, please don't see just a boy caught up in dreams and fantasies. Please see me reaching out for someone I can't see. So take my hand. Let's see where we wake up tomorrow. Our best laid plans are sometimes just a one-night stand, and I'll be damned. And there's something about that opening line of the please don't see just a boy caught up in dreams and fantasies. I was like, God damn, when I heard that lyric. Like,
are you a boy caught up in dreams and fantasies, Matt?
Chris,
is that what you're trying to say?
We're both boys caught up in dreams and fantasies.
I'm a man caught up in dreams and fantasies, baby.
But I was like, I like that sentiment, because I think that both of us, I mean, let's be honest, like, we're happy with the dreams that we're chasing, right? And this is obviously a love song written to somebody. And when you're a teenager or a 20-year-old with these dreams and fantasies of making it big, that's pretty appealing out there on the dating scene, and people kind of support you a little bit. The older you get, where you're still chasing those dreams and fantasies, it's easy for people to look at you as like kind of crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that this song is kind of one of those, like, you know what? Fuck that noise. Like if you've got that dream, if you got that fantasy, if you're pushing, like, don't just see me as someone chasing a dream. See me for who I am, which is like a person who's pushing forward and going for it against everybody's doubts. Like, so I was into it lyrically. I don't think I will listen to this one as much as I will listen to Murder on the Dance Floor, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it gets a little more intense vocally towards the end. He starts hitting some crazy vocal stylings towards the end and some high notes, and I think it's pretty good. Yeah, but I probably won't listen to this one much. I will listen to his new version of Murder on the Dance Floor. Here's the question, though. Does this mean that New Radicals is back?
I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. I think Greg Alexander is perfectly content doing the songwriting and producer thing. But I would love to find out that there's another album coming out. That would absolutely make me happy as a person who's been, kind of like carrying the torch for maybe You've Been Brainwashed for the last 25 years.
Okay. Well, maybe my question was going to be, he's this acclaimed songwriter and producer. Why are you just revamping two songs from such a long time ago? Couldn't have easily just written and recorded some new songs, but maybe I'm answering my own question, or maybe you answered the question for me, I should say, that New Radicals is not a thing that's coming back. So anything New Radicals that he's releasing in the year 2024 is because there's a reason that these old New Radical songs are finally seeing the light of day.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I would love to see. I was about to say, are you familiar with Willie Nelson? Obviously, you're familiar with Willie Nelson.
I've heard of him.
Willie Nelson, before he was the Willie Nelson everybody knows and loves, he was just an acclaimed songwriter in like the 50s and 60s. So much so that his debut album that he put out was called And Then I Wrote, and it was just him doing his versions of the songs that he had already written that were famous by other people. So that's where you get like Willie Nelson sing the song Crazy that most people know as a Patsy Cline song that's originally written by Willie Nelson. Like you get like all these like Willie Nelson doing like, hey, here's how I would have done these hits that I wrote. I would love for Greg Alexander to put out an album like that because I want to hear, we've talked about this before, he wrote the Grammy Award-winning single Game of Love for Santana featuring Michelle Branch. I feel like there's an awesome New Radicals version of that song that could be heard. You know, like,
wow. I guess maybe at some point I knew that.
When we recorded the episode,
did.
I told you that, and I think you blew your mind. And then I don't think we ever talked about it again. But like that vibe, I could hear New Radicals doing that. A little bit of this, a little bit. Like it's like it fits that style enough. I'm like, I hope that's the next one. If they put out another song, it better be Game of Love.
Sure. I think maybe that's why I didn't like the ballad as much.
Yeah.
Because I expect to be like over the top uplifted by New Radical songs at this point. I just want to feel like I'm walking on air when I listen to the New Radicals.
And unfortunately, Lost Stars didn't quite get there. But you know what? All in all, I think that it's awesome that all these years later, he's just like, fuck it. Here's two songs that we were working on 25 years ago for your enjoyment. Here's what they would have sounded like if we had ever done a second album. Like it's a nice little like peek behind the curtain of what else we could have gotten if they didn't break up. So that was kind of it. We just wanted to jump on here because it's not often that a one-hit wonder, let alone a one-album, one-hit wonder artist just comes back out of the blue with two new songs. So we had to jump in and give our opinions. We'll do this again one day when Lou Bega drops a new hit.
When Mambo number 6 drops, look out, everybody. We're ready to go. And I would also say that I think it's really cool that Greg Alexander, whether it's letting someone use your music, which that other guy who's running the election, nobody lets him use their music, as they shouldn't. And I do think whether you speak out or whether you lend your music to somebody or whatever, I always feel a little bit of extra good about liking an artist when I think they're doing something cool like that. You know, I think use your whatever celebrity you have, whatever voice you have, and use it for good. I think that's cool.
I agree.
One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever. And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it one hit thunder?
What's up, everybody? I am Finn McKenty, host of the Punk Rock NBA podcast, part of the Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. My podcast is all about doing what you love for a living, and every week I sit down and talk to people who have done exactly that. For example, musicians like Tommy from Between the Buried and Me, Matt from Periphery, Lil Lotus and Shinigami, among many others, photographers, artists, designers, YouTubers like Glenn Fricker and Sarah Dici, and I unpack exactly how they got to where they are today with the goal of helping you do the same. So if that sounds cool, you can listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com, and I'll see you there.
Hey, this is Dewey Halpus, host of Peer Pleasure on the Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. Join me each week as I explore another long-form conversation with one of your favorite musicians, actors, comedians, or creatives. From Chino Moreno of the Deftones, John Gorley of Portugal the Man, to Fat Mike from NoFX and Ian MacKaye from Fugazi and Minor Threat, we go all over the map. From Fall Out Boy to Slayer, Peer Pleasure has it all. Check us out now on Sound Talent Media.